Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. Hope for the best, hedge with gold for the rest. Man, that's a nice little saying. It's definitely true. Gold and silver used during safe haven times with economic uncertainty as that safe haven metal that can oh so perfectly keep you protected against the crashing dollar, against the feds and the government pumping worthless dollars into a system that is crashing. So, gold has outperformed most asset classes so far in the latest market sell-off. It ended March with a slight $8.51 loss to close at $1,577 per ounce. The monthly low of $1,451 came on March 16th and was possibly the shortest $250 sell-off in gold's entire history. So gold outperforms other asset classes during sell-offs. This is why gold and silver need to be in your portfolio, ladies and gentlemen. So, what is up next for gold and silver? That is what people are wondering. Right? People are seriously curious about this. The Fed also signaled unlimited purchases of treasuries and mortgage-backed securities, quantitative easing. However, the stock market continued to tank. Investors know that the Fed can't buy cruise ship tickets, fill baseball stadiums, or go to a restaurant, which is what the economy really needs. Much of the Fed's efforts are aimed at injecting massive amounts of liquidity into credit markets that had seized up. Incredibly, cracks have emerged even in the market for the U.S. Treasuries as they sold off with stock market some days. Gold has performed as a hedge against both the turbulence and the inflation that might eventually come from all of this intervention. Gold maintained its gains leading up to the March 26th announcement of a $2.2 trillion stimulus package from the U.S. government that makes the existing $1 trillion annual deficit seem trite. So, gold miners better positioned to weather crisis. So let's talk about gold mining. Gold mining has encountered a marginal impact so far from the pandemic. The miners are adhering to the health and safety protocols we have all become familiar with. A handful of countries that have declared lockdowns have included mining as non-essential business. So this is where the silver shortage is coming in. We see Mexico and Peru, some of the biggest, they both together accumulate 40% of this global silver production, shutting down their mines because of COVID-19 outbreak, and this is definitely going to affect silver supply and demand. We have a growing demand, especially with new money coming in, new eyes, new investors, and it's going to get interesting. It's definitely going to get very, very interesting. You can expect crazy high prices because we're living in crazy times right now. If you want exaggerated prices, well, what's happening in the economy right now? We're living in exaggerated times, so it's not out the realm of impossibility. You could say that $100 silver is crazy, but what's happening in the economy is just as crazy right now. However, most gold mines have maintained production, and we don't know any so far yet that have been shut down due to the coronavirus outbreak, except for Peru and Mexico, actually. Gold miners are better positioned than many industries to handle this crisis. Mines are typically in remote areas away from coronavirus hotspots. Many have African experience navigating AIDS, Ebola epidemics while safeguarding employees and sustaining production. The sector is financially strong with low debt and strong cash flow. So, best worst case economic scenarios. So, people everywhere are focused on friends and loved ones who are sick or on the front lines fighting the virus. Investors also think about what the world would look like once COVID-19 is gone. We can't help but reflect on our July 2019 commentary in which is highlighted the fourth turning, written in 1997 by historians Neil Howe and William Strauss. The book lays out generational cycles that have reoccurred throughout history. Since 2008, America has been in the fourth and final turning of the current cycle. The fourth turning is marked by an era of crisis that shakes a society to its roots and fundamentally alters the course of civilization. The fourth turning ends with the climax that lasts several years. A spark triggered a chain of reactions of unyielding responses and further emergencies. We speculated in July that, according to the Howe and Strauss theory, the climax would begin in 2020 to the 2023 timeframe. Past American fourth turnings culminated in wars, World War II, the Civil War before that. Now we have a global war against an invisible enemy. While there is endless speculation on what the future holds for the economy and the markets, we bracket our outlook between the best and worst case scenarios. Now, this is the best case scenario. By the way, I would love to hear your input, your assumptions on what you think is going to happen. The best case scenario, in our view, is a short, sharp recession followed by a slow recovery that takes the economy back to normal life in late 2021. We believe that there is an abundance of risks that would be supported by gold and possibly lead to new long-term highs. The government, being the government, will not be able to save all business and households that need to be saved, probably save many poorly managed businesses that shouldn't be saved. It seems failures and bankruptcies are inevitable. That could be a resurgence of the virus in the fall. Investor and consumer behavior may become much more conservative, at least in the recovery phase and possibly in the long term. States and municipalities have finally devastated by massive cost overruns and reduced tax revenue. Most worrying is sovereign corporate debt. It's expanding record levels to cope with economic shutdowns. Other parts of the world could see the worst outcomes than we experience in the U.S. The worst case scenario is one in which the economy remains shut for longer than expected. This is the worst case scenario. Businesses fail, households go bankrupt, prompt additional trillion-dollar rescues. The Fed continues to expand its balance sheet by trillions. Investors are unwilling and unable to support market for treasuries. A crisis of confidence forces the government to even more extreme measures. Fed moves directly to the U.S. funds treasury, takes up its disarray. A return to the geopolitical risks that made the headlines before the virus. A hostile government launches a cyber attack or a military maneuver designed to take advantage of the crisis. Hoping for the best but preparing for the worst is an appropriate strategy that seems to be prevalent with all hoarding going on. Financially, we believe gold and gold shares should be a part of the strategy as a hedge against turmoil. In addition, from the best to worst case scenarios, the market's complacency toward inflation may turn to worry as the economy absorbs the tidal waves of liquidity. So, this is definitely very, very interesting. We have a lot to talk about. So for the best and worst case scenarios, everyone is still worrying. Everyone is still worrying because we don't know to what extent the virus is going to be spreading, right? We don't know if it's going to last a couple months or a couple years. And that's a big difference. Some businesses are going to fall. A lot of businesses are going to fall. But people still don't know what's going to happen. If they're going to get infected, how many more millions of people are going to die, what the world's going to look like. I try to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst, like the article said. So I'm still preparing, hoarding money, hoarding gold and silver like I always have because I'm a prepper at heart. I've always been prepared. You know, we can't really prepare for the unseen, the unknowable, but you can prepare for several different instances, whether it's war, whether it's virus outbreak, whether it's the doomsday apocalypse. SHTF is kind of how a lot of people got into silver stacking. So at least we have a way to preserve our wealth, preserve our wealth in the economy or in our own terms. And especially since gold and silver, you're in control of your own wealth. You're in complete control of your own wealth, which is the best way to do it, because what if banks start going bankrupt? What if the dollar loses its value? What if a new financial system is in place? What if the world looks a lot different, which is a possibility? And if it is, and you have all this money in US dollars, you don't know what to do with it. It's basically just burning before your eyes. And that's why gold and silver are so beneficial, right? They're so beneficial. So anyways, I'm curious what you think about this article. There's definitely a silver shortage on the horizon. We just don't know how crazy it's going to look. We don't know what it's going to entail for the future and what the rest of the year leading into 2021, possibly all the way until 2023, is going to look like, and how much more damage is going to be done before things start to look better. Anyways, I'm curious what you think about all this. Where do you think silver's price is going to be heading? What do you think are going to be the main drivers to silver's price, whether it's going up or down? I would love to hear your thoughts, your perspectives, your insight, your knowledge on the situation. So if you did think this video was educational, informational, or just entertaining, make sure to smash that like button. Also make sure you subscribe because I do post daily videos. Thanks you so much for tuning in. The link to this article from Seeking Alpha will be in the description. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.